One step in the wrong direction can land you in a pitfall. Just look at Younes Rachidi. The ITIA banned the former player from the sport for life. But why? Well, the former tennis player was found guilty of fixing 135 matches. That's the highest number of offenses ever committed by one individual. As a former player on the third-tier Futures Tour, Rachidi was relatively unknown in the tennis world, but now his actions have placed him under the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The International Tennis Integrity Agency's decision to ban the 36-year-old for life serves as a warning to all players, regardless of their level of the game, that cheating will not be tolerated. Did you know Younes made $53,102 in prize money in his career, and even had the highest ATP doubles ranking of 473? But all that went down the drain as the Moroccan sportsman was permanently prohibited on the 9th of February 2023 from participating in and coaching at or even attending any tennis events authorized by the governing bodies of tennis. The independent body said the cases were disclosed after law enforcement investigations were working with the ITIA in Belgium, and the convicted player also had to pay a hefty fine. He was issued a fine of $34,000 by the independent anti-corruption hearing officer Janie Soblier. But was the tennis star working alone in his crimes, or did he have any accomplices? Apparently, he was working with two Algerian players. It's definitely not one man's job to be involved in that many crimes, but now it makes sense. Surprisingly, Younes's partners in crime were banned by the ITIA in January 2023. Unbelievable! Mohamed Hassan was banned for life from the sport on January 11, 2023, and Houria Bokolda was banned for 2 years and suspended for 2 months on the same date. Not just that, Hassan was fined $12,100 and Bokolda was fined $10,000 with $9,000 suspended. 27-year-old Hassan was convicted of 29 offenses relating to 7 matches between 2016 and 2018. On the other hand, 20-year-old Bokolda was involved in 15 violations relating to 5 matches in 2017 and 2018. Bokolda received a less severe punishment due to his age and lack of experience, because the authorities claimed that the player was influenced by Hassan. While Rachidi's 135 match number is a big deal, it didn't stop the trio from causing even more chaos. Together, the three have been involved in multiple corruption charges. But if you're hearing about these incidents for the first time, don't be so shocked. Match fixing is quite common in sports and has been a persistent issue for years. It's widely believed that it occurs more frequently than is reported. So many players get away scot-free. In many cases, those involved in match fixing go to great lengths to hide their activities, making it difficult for authorities to detect and prosecute. And it's not the first time a tennis player was found guilty of such charges. So how players have come under fire for the same crime? Many tennis players have been banned for match fixing in recent years. Some of the most notable cases included former Italian tennis players Daniele Bracciali and Petito Staracci. The players were banned for life after being found guilty of match fixing and other forms of corruption in 2016. Then there was David Savic. The Serbian tennis player was banned for life after facing match fixing charges and other corrupt practices in the same year. In 2017, the Italian tennis player Riccardo Accardi was banned for 10 years for match fixing. Then there was the case of Alexander Dolgopolov. In 2019, the Ukrainian tennis player was banned for 3 years after match fixing charges. The ITIA has the mandate to maintain the integrity and transparency of tennis, and in 2022, they took a strong stand against players who violated these principles. In that year, the ITIA banned a total of 8 players for various offenses, including match fixing and other forms of corruption. This is one of the most significant infiltrations of tennis by organized crime that we've seen. ITIA CEO Johnny Gray stated at the time, "We welcome the involvement of law enforcement agencies and the prosecution of entire criminal networks, not just the players involved," he said. So who were the accused players? Let's find out. 6 tennis players were punished with lengthy bans on May 6, 2022. The announcement came after a Spanish judge ruled them criminally responsible for match fixing. According to the agency, the accused players were charged with criminal activity. The ITIA also stated that the players' bans ranged from 7 to more than 22 years. Tennis players George Marci Vidri and Marc Fornel Mestres were among those accused. Unranked players include include Pedro Bernabe Franco, Carlos Ortega, Jaime Ortega, and Marcos Torralbo. 2-year suspended prison sentences were imposed on all 6 players. Mestres got the harshest punishment, as he was banned for 22 years and 6 months from tennis. The player was also penalized $250,000. Following the bans, the players were unable to participate in either playing or coaching duties. In simple terms, this was the tragic end of their tennis careers. This same year, 2 low-ranked tennis players got banned for life for fixing matches. A hearing officer found 2 low-level French tennis players guilty of match fixing and banned them from the sport for life. 25-year-old Jules Ocala with a career-high ATP ranking of number 338 and 29-year-old Mick LeCure with a top ranking of number 487 admitted multiple charges. Neither player was permitted to compete in or even attend any future sanctioned tennis event. Ocala was found guilty of 7 charges of match fixing and fined $15,000. Besides the permanent suspension, LeCure was convicted of 8 charges and fined $40,000 along with the ban. According to the Sports Integrity Agency, the forms of punishment come after both athletes were engaged in law enforcement investigations in France and Belgium. But what's the agency doing to stop such behavior in sports? The ITAA closely monitors tennis events and betting patterns. The tennis authorities identify any potential cases of match fixing and work closely with betting organizations to share information and detect suspicious activity, as well as international law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute those who engage in the crime. That's how they crack down on the recent cases. The governing body also provides education and training to players, officials, and other stakeholders on the risk and consequences of such actions and how to report it. Fun fact, they also have an integrity hotline to report such crimes. There are strict regulations in place for those who are found guilty of corrupt activities, and offenders face significant penalties, including fines, suspensions, and lifetime bans. Match fixing is a cancer that threatens the integrity of sports, and tennis is no exception. It undermines the spirit of fair competition and takes away from the thrill of the match. The ITIA's crackdown on Rachidi sends a clear message that the organization is committed to maintaining the honesty of tennis and will not hesitate to hand out severe punishments to those who engage in corrupt practices. But what led Rachidi down this dark path? Was it a desperate attempt to make ends meet in a sport where prize money is limited at the lower levels? Was it a result of greed and a thirst for easy money? Or was it something else entirely? Whatever the reason may be, Rachidi's actions have resulted in a lifetime ban from the sport he once loved. As a fan of tennis, I can only hope that other players take notice and resist the temptation to engage in corrupt practices or end up with a similar fate. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.